Hello, everybody. Welcome to Conservatish. So good to see you, motherfuckers. I know. Peter Feliciano is going live. Hi, everybody. I love you very much. And Adam will be on shortly. But I just wanted to first welcome everybody. There's new motherfuckers here. My name is Peter Feliciano, and I'm a singer-songwriter, podcaster, as you can tell, very professional. And I live in Austin, Texas. I just moved here from New York a couple of weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. Pete, why would you move from New York to Austin? Well, most people already know, but it is because I am. Hello, Krigler. Hello. God, new stalkers every day. I'm a musician and a singer-songwriter, as I said earlier, and there is no fucking music happening in New York. It's all kind of Broadway or TV, and I do neither of those things, although I could do a very good job at that. But yeah, there's no music happening there. It's a dead city. You have to be a famous Democrat in order to get a gun. I just can't do it because I'm neither of those things. So I decided, you know what? Rather than paying $3,000 for a studio, I would come here. And so now I'm here in Austin, and I have a new minivan, as many of you saw on Instagram. Fanny pack is going to be coming soon, and I just signed a lease. I move in tomorrow on a new 1-bedroom apartment. I just bought a bed a couple hours ago. I'm fucking. I swear to God, I'm 36 as fuck right now. I just got a Costco membership. Son, Costco. Anyway, it's been a heavy couple of weeks, feeling like there's no feet under me, no foundation. But now things officially are. Yes, I am Miss Kitty. I am very expressive. I do have an actor's face, but I'm not going on Broadway. But yeah, now things are solid, and I'm actually, even though it's only been a couple of weeks, and even though I've been all over the place, and I've been, whatever, I'm really fucking happy. And so I just want to thank everybody who's been along with me on the journey, and welcome all the new people. I love you. Just so you know, thank you very much, Hoops and Heartbreaks. I love you too. But just so you know, I'm a little too conservative for the liberals and a little too liberal for the conservatives. So it's going to get, I always say, if you have a username that's like Patriot, Christian, we go one, we go all, or whatever, that Q shit. Like, I also talk about eating ass. So just back up the truck if this is going to be too much for you. Although I am, quite MAGA. I love you all very much. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Conservatish. It's been a month. Ladies and gentlemen, the return of the wonderful Adam B. Coleman. Yay.
What's good?
Everything. What's good with you?
A whole bunch of stuff. We're not going to be doing the ass eating talk, are we? Because that wasn't in the description.
Listen, I think the first episode you and I did, I didn't even cuss that whole time. I'm very proud of
you were being very. I don't know. Was it because you felt like you were talking to me like, he seems like a really nice guy. I can't really curse.
Yeah, and now you've been on Fox News and shit, and now you've been on, writing for the, New York Post and stuff. I'm like, now I really can't say the N-word. And if,
you can say nigger.
Doesn't know what it is, it's nigger. So much fun. Adam, it's been a couple of months. We've been talking here and there, this and that, but you've been on straight up, like you've been doing some big things and getting some rightly deserved notoriety and getting out there with a lot of awesome attention. Our boy Jay Boldsey on Twitter, he contributed to Wrong Speak. You've been doing all kinds of great stuff. So how have you been feeling the last few months?
Blessed. I think that's the only thing I can come up with. So much has happened. Like, obviously, I think you were technically my second podcast. I think I did like a small, like a live stream on Facebook with one guy, but from those days with me, like talking to you and just chilling, relaxing, I was just hoping like somebody would buy my book or would actually like it. And fast forward a little over a year, you know, I'm standing next to Ben Carson. I gave him a signed copy of my book. And I'm just like, this is all freaking weird. I guess it's one of those things. That's why I'm like even more adamant that more people need to speak out, more people need to write, because I had zero expectations. I believed in myself, and I just wanted to do something. You know, I was tired of sitting here watching podcasts, worrying about the world falling apart, letting people speak for me, and I didn't say anything.
Mm.
And so, you know, basically, you already know, I spent 9 months sitting down, writing this book, editing it, and then to finally put it out myself. And, you know, it's been absolutely above and beyond what I thought it could turn into. Like, I didn't even see op-ed writing as like a thing for me to get into, or even public speaking. You know, I taught a workshop this past weekend. Next week I'll be going to Wisconsin to do a public speaking engagement. You know,
Nice.
so like all these weird things have been kind of popping up. People reaching out to me. Twitter's been a huge help. I used to crap all over Twitter before, but like it's actually been extremely beneficial with connecting with people. And I just, you know, on top of like having the opportunities come in my direction, I've been taking advantage of it. Like my whole thing is like pretty much I don't say no. Like if someone reaches out and says, can you write an article? I just do it. I say, okay, when do you need it by? And I try to figure something out. You know, I still have a normal job and I'm trying to fit everything within it. And you know, the money that I've made has been used to reinvest into Wrong Speak, to the point where now I have paid writers, I have an editor, and I've helped to inspire even like my editor, Audra. When I first met her, she was an avatar and a made up username on Twitter. And now she shows her face and she uses her name and she's writing, but she first started writing for me and now she's helping me edit. And like, we're in on this project together. I'm helping, you know, I pay her for her work to take some load off of me. And the fact that I have some money to pay somebody else or pay multiple people to contribute to this project, and keep it going, I didn't see that happening so soon, I guess is the best way of putting it. So to answer your question, it's been weird, exciting, crazy, that all these things happen, but it's been a blessing.
Right. Couple of things, because there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about, but just to put a main thing on that.
Yeah.
I've been doing this kind of life thing for a while, meaning like doing the, how do you call it? Like I've been doing music since publicly anyway, since maybe 2012, 2012, 13. I've been doing the podcast since 2018. And I've seen a lot of people, like, it's one thing to work with talented people. It's one thing to work with good writers, with good musicians, with good singers, with good band members, with good producers. It's one thing to do that. But when they're also like fucking great, like also sweet and generous and whatever, it makes everything like so much smoother and so much more like fulfilling and satisfying and blah 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 blah. So I just need to throw that good energy back out to you, like you're a solid motherfucker and I appreciate your friendship, you know, and it makes me really happy that things are going so well for you, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, I don't mean to cut you off, but I feel really guilty that we didn't get a chance to hook up before you had left to Texas. So I'm going to use that as an excuse at some point to find a reason to go down to Austin, because I've never actually been to Texas, to be honest with you. Yeah, I've been to a bunch of states, but I've never been to Texas.
Be careful. A nice white lady from the Upper West Side before I moved down was like, "You're going to be surrounded by such bigotry." One, I'm half Puerto Rican. Do you think I'm dumb? Do you think I'm just like I'm just throwing myself to the wolves? That's number one. Number two, there's more black people in Austin than there are on the Upper West Side. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, but yeah, Austin's sweet. So There's definitely some hipsters. Definitely some hipsters. Did you ever go to Portland about 15 years ago?
Oh, I've actually never been to the Great Northwest.
It's not that great. But in Austin, Austin is like Portland 2008, but with 90-degree, 100-degree heat. That's what Austin is. And it's got pockets of that, but what's nice is that it's just pockets of that. And it's mostly reserved to coffee shops, which are mostly good, mostly really fucking good. I'm very spoiled when it comes to coffee. And thrift stores and music stores and music venues and things like that. When you run into a hipster at like, the grocery store and service industry, it sucks balls. But in general, most of the time it's definitely not that bad. And there's a lot of nice people. The rents and the prices of living are so much more manageable. And it's small businesses are thriving and have been thriving for a while. Whether it be a coffee shop or a shirt. I saw over on my drive back home from the coffee shop, I saw a shirt store. A shirt store. You can't have a shirt store, just a shirt store. Not in New York, not in California. You have to have either backing from some sort of, Soros, or you need to, be a chain. And here in Austin, you can do whatever you can do what you want. People will support it, and the city will support it, and and it's a sweet place. It's a sweet place. So
that's cool. One of these days I'll come down on a weekend.
Definitely. Because when you didn't come down to my going away party, I was crushed. I was very sad. You ruined everything for me. I hope you know that.
I do know that. That's why I have hard time sleeping at night, to be honest with you.
Right. Well, I just bought a mattress, so I won't have any problem at all on mine. This is the first mattress, by the way. And this is part of the thing I wanted to talk to you about. Okay. So I was going to be buying a truck. That was in my mind. I was like, I'm going to get me a truck. I'm going to get an F-150. I'm going to drive it around. I'm not going to listen to country necessarily, but I'm going to bump, MF Doom, some hip hop, some New York hip hop in a truck. I'm going to be swagged out Texas swag. And then the prices were like, I can't justify, like I knew it was going to be expensive, but I can't justify that price for what that was. And then I went online and saw like, oh, maybe I'll get an SUV, maybe this, maybe that. And then it turns out that someone I know was getting rid of a minivan. So now I have a motherfucking minivan. It's a 2020 minivan. It's very luxury. It's got AC in the seats, leather seats, sunroof. It's legit, but it is not swagger, right? But the reason I wanted to talk to you about that and many other things is that I'm transitioning now into the next level of manhood. Now, I know a lot of people are like, what does a soccer mom vehicle have to do with manhood? But follow me on this. I could have spent $60,000 on a vehicle for swagger's sake, but I went with the more reasonable, mature decision. And doing that, I'm not trying to kiss my own ass. I'm just saying doing that was like, oh, okay, I'm foregoing the immediate, I'm foregoing the look for the practicality, for the maturity, for the manhood. And I'm just like, okay. And now like I said, I got a Costco membership. I got a real bed, not some Target bed that costs $200. Like I got a real mattress that's going to last me. So my whole outlook on life, and this is part of the reason I moved to Texas, my whole outlook on life is shifting towards a more like the next step up. And this is something you and I have talked about on this show as well as offline is that next level of adulthood, that next level of manhood. And do you remember, and obviously I'm pretty mature and otherwise, I swear to God, I may cuss a lot on the show, but this is the next level. This is the next level for me. And it feels both unsatisfying in that I don't have a truck. And it also feels incredibly deeply satisfying. It feels really fucking like I've been dating this girl for about a month now, month and a half. And it's like, okay, I've been in great relationships many times, but with this girl, like we're on the same page in a lot of, not just, nature wise, like just her fucking smell, you know what I mean? Like just there's so many things that fit really perfectly, but also she's
Mhm.
on the same page about kids. She's on the same page about, being not a compound, but, getting a couple of chickens, teaching the kids about the circle of life, getting some guns, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And and so even in that level of my life, I'm like starting to level up, but it feels both disappointing and incredibly fulfilling at the same time. What was your experience when that happened for you?
Um, well, I guess for me, I've been, life has humbled me. I guess that's the best way of putting it. Um, so like there was one point in time I was working for a telecommunications company. It was union, but I was getting paid good money, but I was absolutely miserable. Um, I, to be honest with you, I got myself fired. Um, but by doing that, I did that right during the I think it was like the 2008 recession, um, and so I got denied unemployment, and then I tried to appeal it, and the appeal took, I want to say it was almost like 8 months for it to go through. So I had no income, and you know trying to find money, and before I left that job, I purchased another car. So I had this expensive car note for the vehicle that I shouldn't have bought in the first
Yep.
place.
Yep.
Uh, and so trying to figure out how to pay for that and take care of myself. Long story short, I basically ended up taking a job. I'm trying to remember exactly. I think I was making at the time like 26 dollars an hour. And then I ended up taking a job for $13 an hour. Um, and to add on top of that, that vehicle that I purchased got repossessed.
Yep.
Um,
Had that happen before. Yep. Yeah.
yeah. And so, and they were like, what was crazy when you call the bank and you're like, hey, listen, is there anything I could do? And they're like, well, how about this? You can make a $900 payment. I'm like, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm broke. Like, is there something I could do? How about this? An $1,100 payment? No. All right, forget it. Right. So it was no help. So after that, I ended up getting like a hoopty. And basically, I got a hoopty and had to start all over from I think it was like a $13 an hour job. And I just said, okay, I got to start over again and build myself up. Left that job, went to another job, making a few dollars more. I was like, all right, I'm at $17. Left that job, went to another job. I think I went to making either 19 or $20 an hour. I was like, all right, I'm on my way up. But that job, I got fired a few weeks in because I had got the flu. And the words from the lady was that I didn't look enthusiastic.
Nice.
And that was actually probably the worst I've ever felt sick wise. Like I thought I was going to die, but I came into work every day. And they still fired me, which was the crazy part. But here's the thing. That was the best thing that ever happened, because after that, I mean, at the moment, it wasn't the best thing because I was ineligible for unemployment. Since I quit my job, my previous job, and this job had fired me under, I think it's like 6 weeks. You can't get unemployment, something like that. So I'm living at home. I'm unemployed. I'm trying to find another job. I'm starting all over it felt like I was climbing my way up. And I think it was a few months went by and I got that IT job that I've always been wanting. And then from there, my career took off. So I've had a whole bunch of different moments where I'm climbing, I drop back down, climbing, dropping down. And all of those things are humbling to experience. I didn't even go back even farther when I was homeless for a little bit. So I've had multiple moments like that, where it brings me to today, where I have some security, where like you experience those failures. I don't even know if I want to call them failures, but you experience those dips, and you come back to where you're doing good, and you feel proud that you were able to dig yourself out of that ditch, to the point where, like, part of the reason why I felt comfortable writing this book, despite, cancel culture, or someone might get upset, or even my employer, maybe one day they find out and maybe they don't like the content of something that I write. The reason why I still do it anyways, despite the risk, is because I believe in myself. Like, I've been through far worse. I've lost my job before. I've had car repossessed. Like, I believe I'll make it out again. Like, I'm not inviting it. I'm not trying to be reckless. I'm not trying to be stupid. But at the same time, I don't want to. I especially don't want to model for my son to never take a risk if it sacrifices your voice. And I felt the need to take that risk.
Right. And the other thing, and it was something that came up just now, is the idea of you earned it. You earned it. You ever heard people, it's kind of a trope, but you ever hear that thing about, like, in the projects, they don't, the tenants don't take care of it. They don't, like, clean the stairwell. They piss in the stairwell, trash all over the place, lights broken, and grass is all fucked up because people play on it, and blah, 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 blah. But inside the house, they got a nice TV, and they got the this, and they got the nice shoes, and the blah, blah, blah. And it's a very simple axiom, is that they didn't earn the free stairwell, it's all government paid for, right?
Right.
So when you earn something, you now have, like, oh, I don't want to lose this because I've already experienced not having it, or I know how valuable, how hard I worked, what I had to sacrifice internally, externally in order to get this. And so now you've invested, whether you like it or not, you've invested in that thing, and it has more value.
Yeah, but I would even go further and say I invested in myself. Like, the stuff that I have, I just got a new car, I'm in a nice place. Like, all those things are good. But, when you start climbing towards those things, and it becomes just about that, you kind of lose sight on everything else. Like, I'm trying to make clear, like, I'm willing to sacrifice those things. I'm willing to become a nomad. I'm willing to become, like, it's weird saying that as someone who's married, but, like, I'm just saying, like, she understands my mindset. Like, especially once you do it, now that I've done it, now that I've put like, you can't shut me up now. Like, and so I'm willing to sacrifice those things, because I think it's far more important, not just for me, but for other people. Like, if you feel that urge to say something, and there's some sort of risk to it, I say screw it and just say it. Like, the possessions that we have, they matter to a degree, but they shouldn't matter more than, like, your self-respect, your dignity.
And the other thing is, I really didn't face any bad consequences. Like, I had a couple of people who I barely cared about. Most of them, let's be real, most of them is who were white. Not that I devalue white life. I'm just saying, you were the ones who were like, you shouldn't. What was the main thing? That example I always go back to is I told everybody I was going to have a Proud Boy on the show back in 2018, end of 2018. Like and subscribe, everybody. And follow Wrong Speak. Also, before I forget, shout out to Mr. Nico Summer School. And what up, Nico? Go follow him as well. He's a sweetheart. And he's starting that same track that you're talking about, Adam, about speaking up for yourself, jettisoning the things that no longer work and starting something new, risking, And I had the experience of, I was going to have a Proud Boy on the show, and a couple of people were like, you shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. It's a platform for white supremacy. And I'm like, first things first, you're white. I'm not. That's number one. So shouldn't, even in your framework of view, shouldn't I have more authority over whether or not, right? That's number one. Number two, the Proud Boy who was coming on my show was a puro Mexicano. He was a Mexican, right? So this is not a platform but these white people, like, called me a Nazi and they left. But I didn't really face any real consequences. That fear of confrontation that fear of justifying myself, that fear of, it was a lot bigger in the darkness. When it came out into the light, it was like, oh, you ain't shit. This is nothing. I'm not losing real people. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
also win that the consequences that you think you'll face from speaking up are nothing compared to the consequences of not speaking up. We always, I've talked about that too on the show of like, all dudes know the experience of, I should ask her out. I should ask her out. Maybe I think she's flirting with me. Is she smiling at me? I think she's smiling at me. Maybe, do I look all right? No, she's real. I think she's really smiling at me. She's giving me the eye. Like maybe, no, not today. And we just bitch out. And for hours, sometimes that thought of like, I should have asked her out. I could have asked her out. I see her the next week and she says that she's single to somebody else. And that dude asks her out. So it's like, oh, losing that opportunity is so much more painful than just risking the rejection that lasts, 30 seconds tops,
Yeah. That's a really good like analogy that you just gave there. I think that goes back to like trusting yourself. You read in the book where I kind of talk about there were times that I didn't trust myself. There were times that I had anxiety, right? And
Right.
I've become like the complete opposite. Like I've been doing like what I said before. I've been doing like public speaking. I'm about to do public speaking. I did the workshop. I did Fox News. Staring at a camera in a van as you're talking to Brian Kilmeade. Like all these things that I didn't expect to happen. And for anybody, I can understand why they'd be nervous, why they'd be sweating and everything. And I do get nervous for a moment, but then I just start talking and I don't focus on it because I trust myself. Right. And it's that level of surety. Like, I don't think anybody, even like my wife, fully understands like how sure I am of myself. Like I'm just not worried about anything. I'm not really worried about anything. And I maybe this is like a partly religious as well, because I feel like my faith in God has gotten stronger over time. Like if something's going to happen, something's going to happen. Certain moments I'm going to be put in positions, and partly my doing and partly luck and maybe partly God wants me to be there. And so I don't know. Maybe is somebody who may not be of faith may think like, these are just coincidences, but there's just been so many moments. Like I'll tell you this, how I got connected with the New York Post was by complete accident. I had started writing a couple articles for Newsweek, and the editor for Newsweek, the opinion editor, she was like, yeah, write this article. And I wrote it and I sent it to her. And she was like, I'm so sorry, we can't use it because we had another article that was submitted that sounds a lot like yours. I was like, okay. And I was like, what do you think I should do with this? She was like, why don't you just try and send it to the New York Post and see what they say? I was like, all right, who do I send it to? She gave me the email and I just name dropped. I was like, such and such told me to send it over to you. Here you go.
That's that shit.
24 hours later, she was like, great article. It's going out today. I was like, holy shit.
Oof.
And it's stuff like that. Even like when I told you that story, I got fired from that job after a couple of weeks. But and going through 3 months of unemployment and all these things happened to me. And then all of a sudden, the job I've been wanting for like the past 10 years just happened. Right. And I took advantage of it and I just let my career grow from there. And so like I've had all these moments coming from I don't want to say failure, but maybe unfortunate circumstances or like stuff wasn't planned, stuff didn't go the way it was supposed to be planned. It's happened, but it made me stronger or put me in a position that actually severely benefited me. And whether it's luck, whether it's God, but whatever it is, I feel it. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I feel it. And so I'm not worried. Like I'm really not worried. And now it's to the point where it's just like, I can feel it. I can feel certain things coming. It's not me saying, my goal is to get onto this and do this. Like people ask, like, have you talked to this person? Have you been on this? And I'm like, no, hasn't happened. Like, if it happens, it happens. Like I truly am just going with whatever flow. If Fox News calls me tomorrow, hey, that's great. I'm on Fox News. If they don't, then it wasn't meant to happen. Like whatever comes in my direction. I think so many people try to map out their lives. They try to control every outcome. And I just have faith that I'm in the position I'm in because I'm supposed to be here. And whatever position I'm in next time around, or whatever opportunity comes in my direction, like I'm not forcing it to happen. I'm taking advantage of opportunities, and it's happening that way through natural force.
Right. Here's the other thing too. I think this is like anything, and it's similar maybe to the analogy of the physical, but it's like any muscle. If I'm in a position of going to the gym for my first time in a year and I feel all weak and I don't like it and blah, blah, blah. Number one, and I know it's trite, but I don't give a fuck. So if you're thinking like, how do I get to that level of trusting myself? This is fucking how, or at least this is how I did it. And it sounds like similar to what Adam went through. Little incremental decisions to choose not the right rather than the wrong, but just like the beneficial choice, the mature choice, the I believe in myself choice, the muscle of like, okay, one rep of 5 pounds. I did it with meditation. When I first started meditating, I used to tell myself for years I was too crazy to meditate. You know what I mean? And I lived that way. You know what I mean? And surprise, I had none of the benefits of meditation. And then I started with just like, my mentor was like, why don't you try 3 minutes? I was like, I had been humbled in one way to look at it, but also I had faced kind of a plateau spiritually. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Sure. I'll just do it. I've been listening and putting it off and poo-pooing it for years. Let me just try it. And so I started off with 3 minutes. And was my mind crazy? Yes. Was my mind? Yep, it was. And then I did it again for 3 minutes. And then I did it again for 3 minutes. And then eventually I went to 4 minutes. And then I eventually went to 5 minutes. And I started realizing that I would get these weird benefits, and I didn't need to think about it. And I also didn't need to make it sacred. I could be as poo-poo. I could make jokes about it. I could whatever, but I could be in the position where I was actually doing it, regardless of what I believed about myself, regardless of what I believed about meditation, regardless of all that bullshit. I started it, and the action, I mean, it's that old trope, what's that? I think, in a way, it's free your ass and your mind will follow. You know what I mean? Like you do the stuff, and sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you do the stuff, and then the belief comes later. The benefit comes later. The trust in yourself comes later, just like any muscle. You trust yourself once, and you're like, oh, I just did that. Interesting. I told myself, another one was that I told myself for years I couldn't, I didn't want to go to school. I didn't have it in my mind to go to school. Why would I go to school? I'm a musician. I'm a this. I'm a podcaster. I'm a blah, 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 blah. I'm an entertainer, and I'm people smart. I used to say this. I'm people smart and street smart, but I'm not book smart. And that turns out to be bullshit, because I'm graduating from school in September, and I'm maintaining a 3.98 GPA. That could not have happened if you had asked me 3 years ago, would I have been able to do that? I would have said no. And I would have been plumb motherfucking wrong. So just the trying, just the putting in the application, just the, life finds a way, you find a way, practice with little reps, do little things.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And to kind of touch on another thing that I think it's really important, to, like we kind of said it before, like you get humbled by life, but to remain humble even as things are going well. It's weird because like I'll talk to somebody about like all these things happen and I don't look excited. Right. Even though like internally I'm like, is this really happening? Like, this is weird. I'm like kind of in disbelief, but I'm just like by default, I'm a humble person. I don't really like to take myself too seriously. Like I believe in myself, but I just try to be myself. Like I don't try to be anybody else. And I think it's important to always remain that, whether you're succeeding or you're failing. Just like don't take yourself too seriously.
Although I will say your personality, is more of like a violin, and I'm like more of a trumpet. You know, but they work together well, by the way. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, actually, I feel like I'm more like a cello, right?
Okay. All right. Cello.
Because
bassy.
Well, because it's bassy, like, but you could use a cello in a classical sense, or you can rock out with the cello. And occasionally I do rock out.
Okay, how does you do rock out? Yes. But how does a cello rock out? I mean, what kind of rocking out are you talking about?
Like rock music covers with the cello, like that kind of rock out.
You ever heard of Vitamin String Quartet? I think the Vitamin String Quartet does a bunch of like string versions of Alice in Chains. I think they have a whole album of it, and old rock song, Tool. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing, because we still have like 15-ish minutes, 20 minutes, if you're cool with that. The other thing I wanted to talk about was in the vein. Oh, let's see. I'm a good live streamer, everybody. Let me. Oh, that girl Casey, so empowering. Very good stuff here. Damn right, Casey. This is what you get. Amazing things with my show. Little ragamuffin. He who wants to succeed should learn how to fight, to strive, and to suffer. You can acquire a lot in life if you are prepared to give up a lot to get it. And that's a quote by Bruce Lee, just like on Adam's shirt. Amazing. That's how that works. And yeah, amazing. Lovely. Diana Francisco. Hello. Cellos rock. Yes, they do. Okay. Back to the no comment. So I've had the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because I'm reaching this point. I'm super proud of myself. I've been maturing for years. I've been a spiritual man for a long time. I've been sober 20 years. I'm kicking ass with this podcast and becoming more myself every year. I'm really, really happy with the direction I'm going. And one of those is coming to Austin in order to, I didn't have a lot of people, this time, because I did make the move from San Francisco to New York back in 2019. I didn't have any poo-pooers this time, but I did have, I did have a couple people who were like, I felt more sure of myself this time because I've moved states before. I've picked up my entire life and said, fuck it, I'm doing what I want before. And it's worked out beautifully. Even with the pandemic, the last couple of years have been some of the best years of my life, and I wouldn't change anything about it, right? But as far as self-belief, that next level is kind of, I'm really proud of myself, but one of the things is the girl. And who knows if we break up tonight, whatever. It's like, I know God's got me. And I know that everywhere along the line, I'm feeling that same thing. And I've been practicing some more and more. For some fucking reason, everything always works out for me. Like everything. I'm not kidding. I know it's a pie in the sky, blah, blah, blah. I've definitely slept in my car before. I've definitely been, I remember twice in my life, I've been a year and a half late on rent. Okay. This is not a silver spoon situation, but for some reason, everything always works out for me. And so I know that will be the case. But I'm sure, or I'm assuming, because I know a little bit about you, and I know, and I, your family and stuff, and I've met your family and wonderful people. But I'm like looking at the prospect, even though it is what I want. And even though building a family is what I want, and I want to have a couple of kids, and I want to, like, I'm ready. There's still that, and I don't even want to be, because too often, especially in the game, in the talking about a game, especially from a girl's perspective, there's the poo-pooing of the male desire. Like, it just kind of gets dismissed, the male desire to fuck a lot of girls. Like, it just gets dismissed. It's and it gets ignored or it gets pushed to the side or whatever. And I'm not anymore. I'm not Mr. Non-monogamy. I did that for years. It doesn't fit me anymore, right? But I am still coming to terms with the fact that, okay, if this is the last girl, this is the last girl. You know what I mean? And a commitment means that for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a foot out the door, but my spirit kind of does. You know what I mean? And I want to know what your experience was around that. Now you've you've had kids, you've done that thing, but did you have a similar experience where like in a way my soul is like no more other girls, like none, like this is the last, what, you know what I mean? Like, am I sure?
Yeah.
Because what that does in my mind is like, okay, she better be the right one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for me it was I never liked the rat race of dating. Like I never like some people I guess have a great time during the single life. That was never really me. I could get dates, occasionally have sex, but like it's a struggle, man. It's a rat race, it's a struggle, trying to figure out what they're thinking. Do they want something serious? Do they not want something serious? And I think there were definitely growing pains when it came to like the dating scene for me before I met my wife. But I think now, like if you were to put me into the dating scene now, I think I would have a better idea as far as how to navigate it. But I think actually, let me rephrase that. Before I got married, I think I had a very similar mindset as far as like not chasing women and just making myself available. And if she doesn't want to be in my life, then all right, cool, peace. I was kind of dismissive if it wasn't going that direction. And I learned not to force it. Like, don't force it to happen. Don't do too much. Just if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So to kind of address what you're talking about, that urge, that need, I guess for me, it was just more of like, I don't want to go through that anymore. Like it doesn't sound appealing.
Right.
I never really liked the random hookups. I would have sex with women who I wanted to date, like who I wanted to have a relationship with, and maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. But I was never even really in the position to like have sex with multiple women at once. Anyways, that wasn't really me. But I think I understand where you're coming from, though. Like,
yeah, let me clarify a little bit about my situation. Yeah. I've talked about, I'm not, I made a joke a couple months ago, like, I think my slut years are over. You know what I mean? Like, I'm certainly not, like I said, I used to be like, oh, I could never be monogamous. And then I tried that a bunch of times and like, it just doesn't fit me anymore. And then I used to be the guy who was like, I'll never have kids. And then I turned 30 and I was like with a girl and I was like, I think I could see myself having kids. And then about a year later, I was like, oh no, I really want kids. And it felt bad to me. But I'm much more comfortable with it now. I'm comfortable with myself and what I really want. And part of that is having a partner who's like down, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm asking a lot. It's not just already like me by myself, if I worked at Kinko's, would be I'm not downplaying that. I'm saying if I wasn't living a public life, and I know I'm not famous, but I talk about literally everything, almost right. on this show and in my music and whatever. And I say some foul ass stuff that sometimes offends people. So like, she needs to be prepped for that. You know what I mean? She needs to be down like with the fact that we may not see eye to eye, or sometimes people might wish death on me on Twitter. You know what I mean? Hey, and so like, I know I'm asking a lot and I'm prepped for that, but a piece of me still feels like, and I'm that same way with you. Like, I didn't really like frivolous, hookups. For me, it was more couple months at a time with one girl, maybe two, and then the next couple months with one girl, maybe two. It was like as long as we liked each other and we enjoyed each other, we would build on top of that. But sex was there. So now I'm like, okay, I'm building with this girl, and it feels really fucking good. But like, I'll be, 1 minute I'm at the coffee shop and there's a couple of really cute girls, and I know that they're cute, but a piece of me is like, it seems cheap and I don't want that. I'm like, you ain't my girl, gross. You know what I mean? Like, not gross, but like, it's like, it's not worth it. But then on the other hand, 2 days later, I'll go into that same coffee shop, see that same hot girl, and I'm like, never, like, Yeah, can I just sniff your neck? Like, can it just, just a sniff, And so then there's that war of the things for me,
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. I don't think there's nothing wrong with noticing or looking. Like you're still a man, and I think you have to look at the bigger picture. I try to keep that in mind. Like, look at the bigger picture at hand. If she is the one, right now you guys are early. Anything could happen.
Yeah. She might not be the one at all.
Yeah. So I'm if I was in your position, I would just, take it for what it is. Find, vet her. I think that's the best way of putting it. Vet her. See how she reacts. Actually, here's a really good thing. See how she reacts when she doesn't get her way. And how does she react when she is upset? Can she take criticisms? Stuff like that. Because I've been in relationships where she could never admit that she was wrong. Like she had to win whatever it was somehow, even if she wasn't the one that should win theoretically. So it was like a constant conflict. But if she respects you, and that's the number one thing you always want to look for, if she respects you, then she'll be willing to say, you know what, you're right, because maybe you are right in that situation, and maybe you're wrong, and you'll be man enough to be like, you know what, I'm wrong in this. You're right. And
and so far that's been like one of the best parts.
Okay.
So far that's been one of the best parts, in that when we've had disagreements or even little fights, we've been able to step back, and either she's taken umbrage with something I said, and I've been able to go like, all right, yeah, all right, that's fair, yeah, I fucked up, and vice versa, where she's been able to take care of her stuff. So, I've been dating and spiritual at the same time for a while now. You know what I mean? Like I've been, I'm all on board with that. And the vetting process for me has changed though. You know what I'm saying? Because a couple of reasons. Number one, she lives in another motherfucking state. Okay. If she was in the same state as me, in the same area, we could be a little bit, we're seeing each other more often, and we're this and we're that. And, it could work out fine. And because you can kind of feel each other out a little better and a little easier without the stakes feeling so high. But in that way of, I'm not asking, for your relationship advice. I'm just saying, like, as far as a man perspective, was it, like you're talking about big picture, was it just the part of, okay, it's not worth it because, like, even, when I look at like a 20-year-old, you know what I mean? I'm like, delicious, but you're not like, I already know all the games you're going to play. Like, we're not on the same wavelength. You know what I mean? This is not, we're not, you don't, you know what I mean? You got to scrape your knee, get cheat on a few people. Like, you need to have some life experience before you're even in this playing the same game as me. Right. And I don't have to worry about that with her, but like, so she ticks a lot of boxes. It's just more for me, like the fundamental shift inside my being about putting that old Pete away, putting that old, I'm not a hound dog. I'm a perv, and I appreciate that about myself. But like, where like I'm willing to like commit, because I feel like it's similar to what I've heard other people say. Commitment is an inside job. It's not about the other person. It is, but for a man, it's more about, okay, I'm making this decision with myself and with her, but like with myself, that this is the one, and I'm gonna stay in this. And you take it each day as it comes, each date as it comes. But like, was it a struggle for you where you were like, okay, internally, okay, it wasn't, and was that because you were at the right spot, or she was just the exact, I'm not, you don't need to go into details about your wonderful wife. I'm not, I'm just saying, like, it, as far as an inside job, why wasn't it difficult for you?
I mean, even in previous relationships, it was never really a thing for me. I've always been a relationship person. So, I try also not to be grass is greener. I think that's another problem, where you're like, well, this one's good, but could they be better? Or trying to map out this perfect human being. Everybody's
And
going to
not
have
only, not
flaws.
to interrupt you, but like not only grass is greener, but grass is like potential grass is greener. The peripheral not even existed. If it was two girls in front of me, that's one thing. Then I can go, oh, even playing the grass is greener game is not healthy. But my brain is almost like, well, what if there was a different, you know what I mean? It's playing little interesting games with me,
Yeah, I think the longer, I would say this, I think the longer that you're in that relationship with that person, the less you'll feel that way. I think it's still new. I'll tell you this: when you start coming towards that goal of marriage that it sounds like you want, and children, your feelings of lust and sexual drive and all that stuff mixed in, with you respect her, you like her, they're going to change. They're going to feel different, and so you're going to look at her differently at some point. You're going to look at her as whether it be a mother, or whether it sounds weird to kind of say because it's not PC, but like she's yours, like you own her, and you're responsible for her. I have a sense of protection when it comes to my wife, and so if somebody's to cross that path, like for example, I know if there's a noise, I'm the one who gets up.
Right.
Like I signed up for that. I understand that. You may not feel that way right now, right?
Oh no, I do. Oh no, from the jump, I like that many aspects of the male role or the masculine role. Like I'm super down, and I jump into that usually pretty quickly if it's somebody who, if it's somebody who I feel like is worth my time. You know what I mean? And this one definitely is.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'll remove you from it. Let's just say like some guy, like he's first with the woman, he might do it, but he may not feel the same sense of obligation to do it. Like he might get up and do it like, it's nothing, but I'll get up and do it like without hesitation, because I'm like, if it is something, I got to take care of business. And if it is someone who is trying to get into our place at 11 o'clock at night, they're likely going to get an ass naked black guy who's going to try to fight them. So I don't know if that's what they were looking for, but
yeah,
I don't know if I even answered your question.
No, you just went off into the naked Adam. Well, no, I think it does. I think what's interesting and what I'm taking from it is, I'm and I know on a spirit level, and I know Carl, by the way, Carl Seymour. What up, Seymour? Love that guy. He says fidelity rocks in your 50s, dude. And and I'm open to the idea of, like, I really am. It's like I said, it's an inside job where it's like I look at that hot little 19-year-old and I'm like, you're not worth it to me on any level. No offense, but you're just it's not, because I would have to build. Yeah, it's impossible to do that. And or when I have been with younger girls, it's like I have to give them every single thing. They don't have their own life experience to pull from. You know what I'm saying? She does. These other, whatever. So it's more about an inside job of, am I really ready? And I think I am. There's like a toe of mine that's like, but am I not? And I think you're right. And I think that's similar to the idea of where it's just like, I don't have too deep expectations. It's only been a month and a half, whatever. But what shifts my perspective is not only my maturity and where I'm at, but also the fact that I'm in a different state, and I'm like, the stakes feel higher. But maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. You know what I mean? And I'm, as long as I stay honest and open and truthful with myself and with her, I think might work out. And even if it doesn't work out, that's working out too.
Yeah, I think, and you'll eventually. I guess the best thing to kind of keep in mind is that if it feels easy, then that's that's a really good sign. Like it shouldn't be a constant, even if you like make up and stuff like that, it shouldn't be like that. Like it should feel easy. You should feel comfortable. It shouldn't be walking on eggshells. None of that stuff should be really in the mix, especially like in the very beginning when that's like the honeymoon phase. But like
Right.
it should feel easy. It should feel right. And so you just go with the flow from there.
Well, fucking A, man. We've got a few more minutes. I just want to, again, congratulate you on what you're doing. You have wrongspeak.net or wrong-speak. I'm sorry. Wrong. Yeah. But what else?
Wrongspeak.net.
Okay, good. Wrongspeak.net. What else is going on with your site? I know you obviously you have the book that came out last year, Black Victim to Black Victor, but do you have stuff that you're cooking as well?
I have a second book that I started writing and then I took a break from it because of everything that's been going on. I haven't been able to really fully concentrate on it. But I think it's a good break in between. I wrote a little bit, but not too much. But as far as stuff that's cooking, I think more so just me. I'm going to be traveling a little bit. I'm trying to speak more, take advantage of some connections. I'll actually be going to London in November. And while I'm out there, I'm going to go on the Trigonometry podcast.
Nice.
Yeah. That was one of those where I'm like, I've been trying to get on there from like the very beginning. But I've been meeting people who are based in London. I was like, why don't I just go to London and just take advantage of the opportunity? Yeah. So I'll be doing 4 nights in London and meeting as many people as I can. On top of that, I'm doing a 2 weeks and bouncing around Europe for vacation, just like regular vacation with my wife. But as far as like speaking engagements, that's something that I didn't think I would even come across. But I'm actually, I don't know. I just figured, I guess it was just kind of like, I wanted, like, I'm just saying like in the very, very beginning, I wanted to write my book. I wanted to come on your podcast and other podcasts and just try to market it and maybe like write for Wrongspeak. Like that was basically like my viewpoint as far as what I'll be able to do. But, when someone invited me to come out and speak, I was like, sure, because my mindset is I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity. I've never really done like a true public speaking engagement. And that first event that I did, was in front of, it was like 600 people. James Lindsay is right there. And I'm just like, this is weird. And I was nervous. Right. I was nervous for maybe like the first few minutes. And then I just followed my points and just kept going, and got a standing ovation. And that was like a huge fucking high that I'm trying to chase. So I'm really looking forward to this next event. It may be like 300 to 500 people at this next event, and it's faith-based as well.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm still trying to figure out how I want to tailor my speech or how I want to approach it, but I'm really looking forward to it. And I'll be going out to Wisconsin again. That's actually, if you were to ask me like, what's been like the most unexpected thing? The most unexpected thing was that not only would I be going to Wisconsin, but I've gone to Wisconsin the most out of any place. Like I had never been to Wisconsin in my life. This is going to be, I think, my 5th trip to Wisconsin in the past year.
Do you think, I mean, obviously it's because of your wonderful personality and charm, but is it also, do you think it's because after Kenosha happened, they're just hungry for another opportunity or another option?
Well, it initially started from that first event that I went to. I met people there and they become friends and friends/fans. And, matter of fact, the Moms for Liberty event that I went to this past weekend, one of the moms, I met her at my first speaking engagement. She was there, and we even took pictures together, and we kept in contact. And and here she is showing up out there, and she was helping me at my book booth at the event, and had dinner. Like I've made a friend based off of that,
Nice.
and been there to support her. So it's been like, that's why I say like my Wisconsin peeps. Now I have like an affinity to Wisconsin now, because they've been nothing but nice, and really polite and helpful and really supportive of everything that I've done. So just like everything keeps bringing me back to Wisconsin, but I'm not fighting it. Like I think it's awesome. It's been awesome to like go back to Wisconsin. So this time I'll be in a farm somewhere in Wisconsin, just giving a speech in front of a bunch of people. So it should be definitely interesting. But yeah, just being able to speak and go to different events. I went to Arizona, and that was beautiful. I did the drive. Actually, I didn't even tell you about that. Yeah, Arizona was beautiful. I did the drive through.
Wait, you did the drive through where?
No, I did the drive through the desert.
Okay.
No.
I just did the drive from San Diego to Austin, and I was on the 10. The 66 might be all right. I've done that drive too before, but Highway 10 there is nothing for a long time.
Yeah.
I was in motherfucker between El Paso, okay, and I want to say 6 hours, maybe 4, between El Paso and 4 hours into Texas. There is no espresso. No espresso.
Espresso.
They have the best coffee. That there was no Starbucks even. They didn't have nothing. They had McDonald's coffee and gas station coffee. And do people just not need caffeine in the desert? What is wrong with these people? Sorry. It's disturbing. I'm not a spoiled man, but that's just disgusting, people. I don't know. Sorry. So you went down to Arizona.
No, it's all right. Yeah, we flew. Well, actually, on this trip, I flew to Phoenix, but I had to drive to like a different part of Arizona, which had me go through the desert in Arizona and through like the canyon part and everything.
That's very pretty.
Yeah, it was very pretty. And actually, my drive back, it was a suicide run, to be honest with you, of just flying across the country, driving. It was a whole big thing. But I got to drive back at sunrise as I'm watching the sun come up beyond the canyons. Oh, it was so beautiful. So I hope to one day do that again. But yeah, it's just like all these different things that have happened bring me to different places and meet people. Giving away my book sometimes and signing books and people want to take pictures with me. Saying I'm your fan. I'm like, this is so weird. It feels strange because I just feel like a dude. I just feel like a guy. But I'm glad to help people.
Right. And here's the thing about this life that we have. It's one thing for us to go, don't be afraid, speak up, blah, blah, blah. And that's very true. But another thing is that I was greatly helped by so many comedians, musicians, people on YouTube, speakers, blah, blah, blah. By people speaking their mind, I help people. So I do that same thing. I've met fans of whatever, and you have, and that love that they got to give you, they liked to give it a number one, because you gave them something, and number two, you earned it. You know what I mean? So it's that's the other thing I've another practice is like, I deserve this. It's okay. I deserve this. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm definitely like, I feel like I deserve it because I worked for it. So I definitely don't feel like imposter syndrome or anything like that. But it's just surreal because, like I said, I had no expectations of anything, and I just wanted to see where God brought me. And here I am talking to you again.
I put that on the description. I was like, after being on Fox News and writing for the New York He's finally reached the pinnacle of fame with Conservatish.
Yes.
But I appreciate our friendship and what we've done, what we've gotten to, do for each other in our lives. And, I'm proud of you.
Also, you should let the audience know, I don't know if you said it before, you were at my wedding.
I was. I have a picture of us somewhere. I think I posted it. We look dapper as fuck. I got to be at your wedding. It was really, really cool. I got to hold the Zoom. I got to hold the camera while you guys got married. It was very sweet. It was really, really sweet.
Yeah. And also I wanted to let you know because I haven't really made it like public, but my father-in-law passed away last week. Yeah. So we're dealing with that. The funeral is next week, but you got to, the reason I'm telling you is because you met him, you got to see him hand over my wife. So, we're dealing with all of that in the midst of like all the good things that have happened. So it's been a weird time. That's basically all.
Right. Well, I'm sending love to you and your wonderful wife and the whole family over there. Again, the generosity of spirit. I know it sounds corny. It sounds like something my family members would say, but it's true. The generosity of spirit is something that, it's similar to what you're writing and even you're speaking and doing those things. When you just give without expectation, you just try to be there for people. It always comes back, So I appreciate you guys and you and sending love.
Thank you.
I'm sorry you guys are going through that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So yeah, people, not to be, there is no transition out of hearing bad news, but we did end it enough on a positive note. If people want to follow, not only obviously they can go to Fox News and just Google Adam D. Coleman, but if people want to support and follow you, where can they go?
They can definitely follow me on Twitter. I'm the most active on there. So @wrong_speak. Just go to wrongspeak.net. If people are looking to submit articles and want to write for WrongSpeak, email submissions at wrongspeak.net or fill out the form on the website. I just try to make myself accessible. I'm starting to do some writing coaching, things of that nature. But if anybody needs any help, have any questions, want me to look something over, like I literally had someone just DM me, ask if I could look over some writing. So I'm trying to be accessible and helpful for people. I am trying to work to get other people published and support that. So there is a book that I've been so busy I need to read. But it's someone who is looking to publish with WrongSpeak, and I gotta see, if it's the best match and how I can help. But yeah, it's been a complete blessing, and people like yourself who've been supporting me from the beginning, I really do appreciate it. And I do consider you a friend, and I am serious. I feel really bad because I didn't even know you were moving. That's why I was like, oh shit, I didn't know.
I posted about it. It's like you don't even care, Adam. It's like you don't even follow me.
You know what it is?
It came up quick.
I'm all over Twitter, so like if you put something on Instagram, I'm easily gonna miss it.
Yeah, I haven't been as active. When I do punch Twitter, I punch it. I want to make sure that it whatever. But I feel like there's probably more. It's more beneficial to just. Not that I'm saying you do this, but I've seen some people who are a lot more successful throw out the idea. But with me, I like to be, I like to curate it. I mean, there's been twice now where I started an article for WrongSpeak, and then I'm like, I can't shorten this to 2 pages. I can't. I just, but I am getting better. I am a good writer, I swear. I don't know, man. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad at all. And I'll be visiting potentially New York in maybe the next month and a half. I'll be coming under the radar. Okay. I just want to see, a couple of people. I know you're in Jersey. But also you've never met Mike Harlow, right?
Not in person.
Okay, yeah, Mike Harlow, Megan McGlover. There's like a bunch of people I had. If I had had more time, my life was so up in the air for like 2 months. Once I made the decision to move, it was just so many moving pieces and so much craziness. Right. So, you know, I got a chance to do a quick, you know, going away party with a couple of friends. But as far as like, I would love to do like a sit down dinner with like a bunch of problematic New York motherfuckers and just, you know, and connect you guys. Cause I feel like it's more powerful if you guys all to get together, like I had wanted to, y'all get together and, you know, flower up whatever can come from that. You never know. You know, Megan McGlover and Mike Harlow are incredibly talented people and whatever. But I think sometimes in this game, we have to, especially in New York in the underground, like they're not famous, whatever. But like a couple of people I know in the Awake movement in New York are like working hard and kicking ass, but they're working in separate, like there's 5 or 6, 7, 8 groups. It's like, okay, but what if you all went together? Like, I know you don't agree on everything, but what if, as long as you're anti them, like you're good, like, you know, so I feel like a little, you know, connections would be helpful. So I don't know. I'll keep you posted. You keep me posted if you come down to TX. And as far as an update, everybody, I'm gonna be getting music together and getting a band together and starting to perform, starting to produce other people's music. I'm graduating from audio production school in September, and I'll be probably, you know, I mean, this is the other thing too. Just as a last side note, you know, I don't want to put a cap on whatever this next chapter is going to look like. You know, I am I'm the first, you know, male college graduate in my family, you know, and so I don't want to just oh, maybe I'll work at a studio or I'll gig. Okay, yeah, it's one thing, but I could do a lot of shit with this degree that I'm not even, you know, as far as thinking outside the box, you know. So we'll see what happens. Right. We'll see. Either way,
congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, either way, I'm a lot more happy here, and I feel just energetically, it's completely different than New York, and I'm happy. So
that's good. Yeah, it's always good to get out of the concrete jungle.
That's the thing. If it was just the concrete jungle, I would have stayed there. It's the oppressive, we're all afraid of everything, and we're going to browbeat you into feeling and thinking and saying the things we want you to feel and say and think. I did enough of that in San Francisco. If New York wants to die in a malaise of fear, that's their own business. I don't have to do it anymore. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, Adam, for joining me. I love you all very much. Make sure you follow Adam at wrongspeak.net and also at wrong_speak. You can follow me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano. And I'm on Twitter at Rule62Peter. You can support my podcast and music at patreon.com/conservatish, or you can just PayPal me at conservatishpodcast@gmail.com. Love you all very much, and I'll go ahead and end the recording. Bye, everybody. Bye.